First at noon, a dismembered body has been found at the scene of a fire early this morning in Kapolei. Investigators are still trying to work out what happened. Casey Lund has the details.
A busy morning traffic-wise here along Kilauea Boulevard, just Macaha of Kapolei Commons and Kapolei Parkway. We'll step out of the way here and show you what we were looking at earlier this morning. Most of that scene has cleared. HFD investigators as well as Honolulu Criminal Investigation Division with Honolulu Police detectives have been on scene here since this all began. And I'll walk you through what we know so far. This all started with a fire call around 1:40 this morning at an apparent homeless encampment. Again, just a little south of the Kapolei Commons, that shopping center. HFD responded to that. They were able to get that fire under control relatively quickly, some sort of a makeshift structure there. It was around 10 a.m., just a little after 2 o'clock when that fire was out. They made a chilling discovery. Those human remains and the official information we got that they were charred beyond recognition, unidentifiable. And that's when Honolulu Police, major detectives came on scene as well as Honolulu EMS. We did confirm with EMS officials that nobody was transported from the scene. Detectives have been here throughout the morning collecting evidence, trying to get as much information as they can. They did post on their social media that this was an unattended death. We're working to get some more details and see, but as far as we know, this has not been classified as a homicide investigation just yet. Again, to just kind of recap, that fire call came in just after 1:40, the fire out, and then those human remains were discovered. Throughout the morning, we've seen a number of authorities come and go, medical examiner, as well as those contracted mortuary services van. We saw 2 of those vehicles exit the scene here, as well as HFD personnel and Honolulu Police detectives and uniformed officers here on scene. We'll continue to get more information as we get that. We'll put that out and get it online at hawaiinewsnow.com. We'll send things back into the studio for now.
Thank you, Case. The Chinatown acid attack suspect remains behind bars as he awaits charges. Police identified 34-year-old Marquise Johnson after he was caught on surveillance cameras near the scene where a chef was doused in the face with sulfuric acid on August 8th. Police have not revealed a motive. At last check, the 30-year-old victim was in stable condition. Friends tell us Johnson's mental state changed and he left Hawaii after an attack 3 years ago. He was beaten by a gang yelling racial and anti-gay slurs in Chinatown.
He woke up in a hospital. They had cut his face with bottles. I think his back had been broken. He had some of his bones in his face had been broken. And then he left.
Johnson was back in Hawaii the day before the attack to be deposed for a lawsuit in which he claimed his former landlords were watching him through hidden cameras. The owners have denied those allegations. Johnson is expected to be charged with assault today, and then we'll learn more about the evidence against him. Maui police packed a courtroom yesterday as Klembert Kaneholani made his first appearance for the shooting death of an officer on Friday. Chelsea Davis reports from Wailuku.
Maui police officer Suzanne O's squad car has been set up here at the Maui Police Department headquarters in Wailuku for everyone to see just how incredibly loved she is. As community members come by to honor her and show their respects, there's a feeling of great sadness here. As you can see behind me, the flags being flown here are being flown at half staff. 4 sheriff's deputies escorted the suspect, 38-year-old Klembert Kaneholani, into Judge Annalisa Bernard Lee's courtroom. The gallery was filled with family members of fallen Officer O and dozens of Maui police officers in a solemn show of support. Kaneholani looked down for most of the hearing and remained silent. He is accused of shooting and killing O in Paia Friday night as she and other officers were responding to help someone who was allegedly being shot at. Kaneholani is charged with first-degree murder, first-degree attempted murder, and 3 firearms offenses.
We're focused on making sure that we get justice for Officer O, and we need to make sure that that is at the top of the list. Also at the top of the list, and equally as important, because I know she would want it this way, is we are very much focused on the health and well-being of our employees who are devastated and their families.
Maui prosecuting attorney Andrew Martin says the Department of the Prosecuting Attorney expresses our deepest condolences on the tragic shooting death of Officer Suzanne O. And the department looks forward to pursuing justice for Officer O. Kaniholani is a convicted felon with priors for disorderly conduct, reckless driving, and 2 thefts. He's also accused of beating up the mother of his children. Recent court documents say Kaniholani showed up multiple times at a safe house looking for them. The woman has since been granted a temporary restraining order. Klembert will be back in court on Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. The 37-year-old fallen officer is originally from American Samoa and decided to pursue a career in serving and protecting the Maui community after her parents passed away. Funeral services will be announced later. Reporting in Wailuku, I'm Chelsea Davis for Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Chelsea. Jasper Solberg pleaded not guilty to murder and attempted murder yesterday. The now 18-year-old, along with Matthew Moon, Olson Burrows, Fanoi Moana, and Styron Stevens, allegedly opened fire at a home in Macaha back in May. 19-year-old Marcus Araneta was killed and 4 others were wounded. Solberg is being held without bail. His trial is set for October 20th. A crash in the Kalihi area has claimed a life. It happened just before 1:20 this morning on North King Street near Pua Lane. That's where police say a 51-year-old woman crashed into a utility pole. She was rushed to the hospital but later died. It's not currently known what caused her to leave the road. This is Oahu's 52nd traffic death this year. That's exactly double from this point in 2024. Well, Team Hawaii has been eliminated from the Little League World Series. The Honolulu Little Leaguers just lost 3-0 to South Carolina from the Southeast region. Now, this is a double elimination tournament, and Hawaii lost their first game, so this was a win or go home situation. The Hawaii boys did beat Illinois 9-1 on Sunday. We'll have reaction coming up on later editions of HNN. Let's take it live to the Big Island now. We're keeping a close eye on Kilauea this afternoon. The next eruptive episode could start anytime now. The USGS says magma levels are high, and they predict another fountaining episode could begin anytime between now and Friday. This would be the 31st episode of the eruption that started last December. The last episode ended on August 6th after 12 hours of fountaining. Meantime, a warning from the State Land Department to watch out for large cracks in lava deltas formed during the 2018 Kilauea eruption. This video shows one recently discovered in Kapolei. Officials say it may indicate the delta is at risk of collapsing. Now, the warning extends to the communities of Kapolei, Pohoiki, Malama, and Kalapana.
And of course, as we continue to track the potential next eruption of Kilauea, we're watching our first alert VOG forecast out there very closely. As we're going forward, we might have some light VOG still out there this afternoon, but we're going to start to see it clearing out. Stronger trades are in the forecast over the next couple of days. Typical trade wind pattern, overall east and northeasterly flow out there, keeping the overall VOG plume off to the west and southwest of Hawaii Island. You can see our winds outside right now, relatively breezy in Honolulu, around 20 miles per hour out of the northeast, 22 over in Kahului, a little bit weaker over in Hilo today. Outside of that, we are tracking minor coastal flooding. A coastal flood alert has been issued by the National Weather Service. I'll give you a further breakdown coming up.
Thank you, Drew. President Trump said today he is working on facilitating talks between the leaders of Ukraine and Russia after he met with both of them individually over the last few days in an effort to end the war. Tarian Small has the latest from the White House.
The White House says accommodations are underway to arrange a face-to-face meeting between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin as soon as possible.
There are many options that are being discussed by our national security team right now with both parties.
The comments come a day after President Trump met with Zelensky and key European allies at the White House and then spoke to Putin by phone. In a hot mic moment, speaking to French President Emmanuel Macron, President Trump seemed to suggest he holds some sway with Putin when it comes to ending the war.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that? As crazy as it sounds.
Following Monday's meetings, President Trump promised the U.S. will help provide security guarantees to protect Ukraine from future Russian invasions, though the White House didn't provide specifics other than to say it will not include boots on the ground.
It could be in the form of an advisory relationship.
Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster served as National Security Advisor in the first Trump administration.
It could be within the region itself, a reinforcement of air defense capabilities, U.S. manned around Ukraine, which could shoot down a lot of these missiles and drones.
A key issue that needs to be resolved: what should happen to the 20% of Ukrainian territory that is currently controlled by Russian forces? In an interview this morning, President Trump said Zelensky has to show some flexibility. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
Back here at home, downtown drivers, heads up. Nimitz Highway will have extended lane closures for the next 5 years. Hart officials say one lane of Nimitz Highway in both directions between Bishop and Awa Streets will be closed 24 hours a day through September 2030. It started yesterday and will make its way for the rail project's City Center Guideway and stations.
It's kind of ridiculous to see that much construction being done.
Sorry. Just completely apologetic about that. It's a necessary evil. We need to do this. There's no other way to get those columns in. They're coming right down the center. We just received approval from HDOT to go ahead and do this.
For eastbound and westbound traffic, Hart says use alternate routes, including King and Beretania Streets. There will be detours as needed. Hart says residents and businesses will still have access.
And he was like, oh yeah, it's all red and all small little, welts.
Mysterious bug bites at Hawaii's largest shopping center. How the mall is responding ahead on This Is Now. Plus, grocery prices continue to rise. A look at what's driving the higher costs. Welcome back. Hawaii's largest mall is dealing with a bed bug infestation in one of its food courts. Ala Moana Center was made aware of the bed bugs in their Lanai food court as a video of the pests made its rounds online. One customer felt bites on her leg and took a closer look at the chair she was sitting on. She saw the small bugs in the spaces of a wooden chair. The mall's PR team confirmed bed bugs were found and said they quickly called their pest control vendor. They treated the area area and removed the wooden chairs and said seating will be closed for the next few days. Mall officials said this was an isolated incident and surrounding areas were also treated out of abundance of caution. Now, another customer who is also worried about pests said she experienced similar bites back in 2021 from the benches near center stage.
As soon as I sat down, and it wasn't even a minute, and I stood up because I felt the stinging, and I was like, it felt like ants to me. It felt like ants biting me. And so like I stood up, I looked at the bench and I couldn't really see anything. I mean, I don't know if it's bed bugs that happened to me, but it's the same. It looks the same. Mine was pretty bad.
Ala Moana's PR team also said their pest control vendor reported that this incident has been resolved. They will continue to monitor. The Department of Health's Vector Control Branch is not responsible for monitoring cases like this, but they have been in touch with Ala Moana Center management. Mall officials again reiterated that this was an isolated incident and treatment has taken place. The latest consumer price index shows grocery prices in July rose 2.2% compared to last year. The rising cost of food is driving an affordability crisis, forcing families to make tough choices just to put essentials like milk, bread, and eggs on the table. Loisa Rosner reports.
Sandra Cora is food shopping for her mom, who lives on a fixed income.
She can barely afford half of this stuff. Like, do you pay your rent or you buy food?
Everyday staples saw significant cost increases in the last year. Coffee up nearly 15%, ground beef up just over 11%. Egg prices hit by avian flu are falling, but still up more than 16%.
My budget has become double for food shopping.
Food prices behave in a way that I describe as rockets and feathers.
Ricky Volpe is a professor of agribusiness at California Polytechnic State University.
Food prices rise quickly as a result of upstream costs, but they come down slowly, if at all.
He says tariffs on aluminum and steel implemented in March are impacting the price of groceries now. They're showing up in higher costs for canned foods and beverages, but in less obvious ways too.
Steel is absolutely essential to food manufacturing, processing, storing, and transportation.
One bright spot about U.S. food supply, only about 10% of grocery store food is imported and now subject to further tariffs. Avi Kaner is co-owner of Morton Williams Supermarkets.
Consumers in the United States have a choice. They don't necessarily need to buy that sauce from Italy. They can buy the sauce that's made in the good old United States.
Experts say there are ways consumers can save on grocery costs, like buying meat in bulk and freezing it, as well as sticking to store brands instead of name brands.
Shoppers can also opt for whole items stores charge to cube watermelon and shred cheese. Shelf-stable foods can also keep overall costs down as inflation ticks up. Lisa Rosner, CBS News, New York.
And stick around, your first alert full forecast is coming up. It was a warm one yesterday. It's still relatively hot outside. We're seeing heat index values in the 90s. I'll give you a breakdown of our full forecast coming up.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're tracking breaking news in central Oahu. Firefighters are responding to another wildfire on Kunio Road. Viewers in Mililani and Kapolei say they can see the large plume of smoke from where they are, and this is the view from our tower cam. You can see the smoke coming up there. Details are limited at this time, but we will bring you any updates as we get them. And of course, when we're tracking fires like this, we tend to look at the winds here on our First Alert weather forecast. It's breezy out there. We're going to see winds continue to be breezy until around 5 to 6 p.m. That's when they'll start to weaken. Outside we go. We're actually seeing sustained winds in town, 20 miles per hour. Kahului around 22 miles per hour. This overall breezy trade wind condition is going to continue over the next couple of days, really into the weekend. You can see in our First Alert windcast going forward into this afternoon or Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon, winds will be between 15 to potentially even 25 miles per hour. A repeat expected as we're going into Thursday. Outside of that, we do have a coastal flood alert up across the entirety of the island chain, higher than average high tides over the next couple of days. This goes into effect this afternoon, so it's going to be starting here in a couple of hours and will last until Thursday afternoon. Some minor coastal flooding is possible for those low-lying areas. High temperatures yesterday in town, we got up to 90 degrees, 91 in Kahului, 87 over in Hilo, and 87 over in Lihue. So very warm out there, but it feels a little bit warmer than the actual thermometer reading. 91 for a heat index right now in Honolulu, around 88 degrees. Feels like 92 in Kailua Kona when the temperature is actually around 86 degrees. You know the age-old saying, it's not the heat that gets you, it's the humidity. We're still seeing a few showers this evening, possible over just northwest of the state. A few sprinkles over near Kauai. As we're going forward, overall windward and Mauka showers are possible as we're going into the weekend. Limited rainfall out there. We also are tracking a small southeast swell that's going to be building in throughout Thursday and Friday. Not much surf expected going into the weekend. Our surf and shoreline forecast, west and south facing shores are dropping for this afternoon. Still a few box jellies out there over the next couple of days, so make sure to be careful on Oahu's south and west facing shores. East facing shores around 2 to 4 feet. And here's our radar and satellite. You can see just zooming in a little bit closer towards Oahu, a few sprinkles, if anything, along the Kilauea. And we might even be seeing some smoke from that radar getting picked up from the fire that we were just taking a look at. And then also you can see relatively quiet over Maui County. Hawaii Islands also relatively quiet. Some clouds building up over the Macaha areas. And then maybe a few sprinkles actually just over the leeward parts of Kauai. A few showers over near Keikaha. Here's a look at our 7-day forecast. Going forward, a copy and paste forecast. A lot of sunshine, a lot of breezy conditions, really all the way into this weekend and beyond. It's very much a summer-like pattern here in Hawaii going forward.
Thanks, Drew. Meanwhile, North Carolina's Outer Banks are bracing for the impact of Hurricane Erin. Usher Qureshi has the latest.
Were it not for the red flags flapping, you wouldn't know a hurricane is coming, as beachgoers in Kitty Hawk went about their day of fun and sun. Over at Wrightsville Beach, the water is off limits, with rip currents forcing people to stick to the sand.
I can't tell you what exactly to do, except don't get into the ocean. That's got to be the #1 message across up and down the entire North Carolina coast, is just do not get in the ocean.
Tourists on the Outer Banks evacuated yesterday, and residents are headed to the mainland today with a tropical storm watch and warning in effect. Forecast to grow in size, Erin won't make landfall, but is still expected to bring heavy rain and dangerous surf and potentially cut off the islands.
Beaches in North Carolina have banned swimming all week after dozens of rescues on Monday. Red flag warnings are expected all along the East Coast, from Florida to New England.
Authorities in New Jersey and on New York's Long Island aren't taking any chances, following the death of a swimmer at the Jersey Shore last week.
This is no time to be complacent. I would just say to you flat out, don't go in the water.
Residents can expect life-threatening rip currents, large waves and surf, potentially reaching up to 10 to 12 feet, widespread dune erosion,
and localized coastal flooding.
Coastal flooding is something all too familiar for Outer Banks residents, and Aaron's timing is forcing some summer vacationers to make other plans. Usher Qureshi, CBS News, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
All right, this is some really good news. The 2025 Pokemon World Championships took place over the weekend in Anaheim, California. This global event featured heated matches between competitors from across the world in the Pokemon Video Game Championships, Pokemon Trading Card Game, Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Unite. More than 30,000 people packed into the venue, 2,500 of whom were competing for cash prizes and the title of World Champion. Looks like a lot of fun. I really wish I was there, actually.
Pokemon's still definitely a thing.
Oh yeah, it's
Huge.
awesome. And it's weigh-in day at London Zoo.
Yeah, getting measurements of all the animals is no small task. Every animal, from the smallest snail to the tallest giraffe, has its weight and measurements carefully recorded. The annual event is a chance to update vital health information for more than 400 species that live there. Zookeepers track growth, monitor pregnancies, and spot any unexpected changes.
I really liked how that lemur hopped onto the scale.
So cute. Thanks for watching, everybody.